I've cooperated every way that I can. I wish I had information where I would give more. This is all I have is I gave to the police.
Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. That was Cassie Laundrie, Brian's sister, talking about not speaking to Brian on Good Morning America. She's the only Laundrie family member who has spoken to the media thus far. The search into Brian Laundrie is being scaled back now, almost 2 weeks after he disappeared, and it will be more targeted from now on, based on intelligence. Good move. What do we know about Brian's movements based on his behavior, especially his recent behavior? We know that he hitchhiked at least twice when he was in Wyoming. Is that a possibility here? Well, I think without a disguise, and if he's still in Florida, I'd say no. Interest right now is at a peak, and his best ally is going to be A, time, and B, a roof over his head, being indoors. The longer he can lay low and stay where he is, the better the chance that he can simply wait out the storm, wait for it to blow over. And once it settles, sure, then he can kind of emerge, then he can come out, and he may want to put some distance between himself and his pursuers. Fight Club undoubtedly plays a role in informing Brian Laundrie's psyche and psychology. The only question is, how much of a role? If Brian is trying to live out the manifesto of Fight Club, one aspect of which is, it's only after we've lost everything that we're free to do anything. Where would he go? Before we get to that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Like, share, leave a comment, and let's get started. So where would Brian go? Well, where did the protagonist in Fight Club go when he lost his home? Where was Tyler Durden living? What was the base of operations for Ed Norton's nihilistic character in Fight Club? Well, it was a house on Paper Street. More particularly, an abandoned house. This house. We've already developed the working theory that Brian, isn't outdoors somewhere. That's the theory of True Crime Rocket Science. I've heard John Walsh saying the same thing, that he never went to the swamps. He was never there to begin with. I don't think he's there either. He's not in the swamps, he's indoors. Well, so if you accept that, then the next step is to define that indoor area. What kind of structure, what kind of environment is he in? If he's in some kind of building. An abandoned house may be the answer. Perhaps not as derelict as the one depicted in Fight Club. Perhaps it's simply an empty house. Perhaps it's a show house. Perhaps it's a house that's for sale. Perhaps it's a house that has been renovated and the renovations have sort of been in limbo and might be in limbo for the foreseeable future. Also, bear in mind there is first one person living in the house in Paper Street in the movie, and then there are two. Someone may have shown Brian to an abandoned or empty house and are supporting his efforts to lay low there. Who could that someone be? In the next episode of the Psychological Life of Brian, which will be really the first in a series of episodes, we'll be examining this idea of a house as a metaphor, how the house is a metaphor of the self, and how our surroundings can shape us as people and even shape our thinking, and how that applies, of course, to Brian, where he may be. The kind of guy Brian is, a kind of an empty person in some ways, a simple person. What kind of structure would he choose to be inside, do you think? We'll also look into instances where books have actually featured in true crime, either as manuals or guidebooks or inspiration of some kind. And then we'll dip into Ernest Becker's take on how symbolism informs psychology and how self-esteem, ego, and anxiety shape the criminal mind and may shape Brian's mind. If you enjoyed yesterday's live stream, I know some of you did, then you're going to find this series really interesting. In a few hours, I'll also be following up this episode with the central thing, the central moment, the central thing that actually triggered, I believe, Brian to do what he did. Something very, very specific. And I'll be dealing with that in a upcoming episode. So look out for that. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.